everyone, welcome back to AndyDemos, and you just heard a couple different preamps and quite a bit of boost from the Source Audio ZIO, which is their first all-analog pedal, so let's take a closer look. Designed in collaboration with Christopher Venter of Shoe Pedals, the answer to what ZIO does can be found in its name, Z for impedance, I for input, and O for output, and is armed with 4 distinct preamps to help boost, buffer, and shape your whole rig. Each preamp can go from under unity gain all the way to plus 20 decibels. JFET offers a very transparent, high headroom boost with no frequency limiting, and can be used for a wide variety of applications from boosting an amp to strengthening line levels. Low cut gets rid of the rumble and extreme low frequencies that make your cabs flub out or cause those neck pickups to get lost in the mix. Studio, which is inspired by the Pultec Trick, is a versatile preamp which simultaneously cuts muddy low mids, reduces low rumble, and increases presence. Finally, the famous E-Plex FET-based preamp adds its characteristic warmth and slight grit to any scenario. Any of these preamp boosts will act as a buffer, reducing the capacitance of long cable runs. But sometimes, like in the case of the E-Plex, which originally didn't have a very low output impedance, a little high-end roll-off might just be the thing you need to put the finishing touch on your tone. So the tone capacitance switch can act like 30 feet of virtual cable length, reducing the high-end spike of buffers or creating new tones with your dirt pedals. Completing the ZIO is a set of outputs and 2 foot switch modes, one that acts normally like true bypass, and one that mutes the output and sends the second output to a tuner or any other device of your choice. Like all Source Audio and Shoe pedals, the ZIO is expertly designed in the USA, and you can find out complete specs and all of its applications at sourceaudio.net. Alright, so I think the first thing we should do is check out all 4 of these preamps set to a fairly clean setting and not so much focus on the cable capacitance just yet, because I think there's enough in the different preamps to really give you an idea of what they're doing. And then we'll get into some stacking and play around with the virtual cable length. Back to JFET. So I think that's pretty obvious there. It really helps just kind of tighten up a neck pickup or humbuckers, which I'll show you later on. Let's move on to the next one, which is Studio, which gives you that Pultec Trick. A very nice way of kind of changing everything at once, mids, bass, and highs. So I just boosted a little bit, so there's a little bit more gain in that one, but each mode can really get a lot of boost. Now let's go to the E-Plex mode, and I'll back off the output and then also show you just how far it can go as well. Here's the Earthquaker plumes, which is known to be a very hi-fi kind of overdrive if you have that toggle switch in the center position. So let's use the E-Plex after it and kind of warm things up and also give a little bit of boost. Sticking with the ZIO and plumes combination on the E-Plex mode, let's actually introduce a little bit of that virtual cable length between the input of the ZIO and the plumes. So basically, we're going to get a little bit more cable capacitance, and we're going to even shave off even more high frequencies and just kind of change the overall voicing of the overdrive. So you heard a little bit of that cable capacitance. Let's really focus in on that feature because, you know, in my case, running 50 feet out to my amp room where my deluxe reverb is, it requires a unity gain buffer at least, and that's what you've been hearing in addition to the ZIO. So let's just take that one out of the signal chain and really hear how the buffer is helping, and then we could kind of scale things back and add a little bit more capacitance to warm up the overall signal if, say, we were playing through a brighter amplifier. You might think that the pedal makes the whole signal bright. It's actually kind of just going back to square one without all that capacitance. So that being said, let's try a little bit of the darker settings and see how it can really fine-tune the overall sound. kind of a fatter sound. It almost makes these single coils sound like P90s. And of course, we have a boost available, and you could really shape the tone that way. So let's try a little bit more output that's going above and beyond unity gain. So for me, having a little bit more output dialed in, I kind of prefer the medium setting. It still retains a nice fat tone, but it's not dull by any means, and it's kind of a nice middle ground. And if I'm playing through something like a Marshall, maybe I'd want the bright setting back. Now let's experiment a bit. I want to put the ZIO first in line this time, and it's going to be going into the Overdrive, which doesn't have any tone controls. And what I've done here is I'm using the E-Plex Preamp, which is I think one of my favorites here, and I'm using the dark setting. So it has all this kind of virtual capacitance straight from the guitar into the ZIO, and then it's into a no tone control overdrive. Then we'll flop the order and see how it affects the overall sound. So you could probably tell a big difference with that simulated cable length in the dark mode. So again, this is one of those pedals that you just really want to experiment with, especially if it's before or after your dirt effects. Now let's use the ZIO to tighten up a classic distortion. This time it's the Red Muck from Jam Pedals, and it has that muffy sound. So I'm going to be using the low cut preamp, and we'll be placing it afterwards. So it's going to shave off a little low end, but of course we have all that boost to play with. So not only is it making things louder, it's making things clearer, especially on these humbuckers. that's the ZIO analog front end and boost from Source Audio. As you can see, it's just a very helpful tool when stacking with other effects and also, just fine-tuning your sound and your complete rig, including cable length. And you can find out all about it at sourceaudio.net. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next AndyDemo.